Hi, it's Stephanie on Spotify, Steph's World, Instagram, and YouTube with Steph's Rock Show. We've got John Demena. Hi, thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, thanks so much.
How
I'm
is your day
excited.
going?
It's been well. We were in the studio all this weekend, so it's been very stressful for like the last couple days. So it was nice to have a day off a little bit yesterday, and then we went to see some friends, and there was a little barbecue, for Memorial Day, and it's been nice to slow things down because it's been 2 intense days of recording nonstop.
Yeah. What is this accent that I'm hearing?
I grew up in Spain. Been here in LA for 16 years now, but
Oh,
Spanish born. Yeah.
wow. Have you
hmm
done the running of the bulls?
Oh, not exactly that one. That's in the main city in the north, but they're like similar things that happen in little towns to like that type of thing. When we were kids, that was kind of like a popular thing to do.
Because you're from Spain, are you attracted to red flags?
Oh, depends. Like that. Try to like depends on like things that push my limits or something a little bit sometimes. But
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I like red flags. Like
hmm
anybody that doesn't have their life together, that's probably a bad idea to date. I will date a red flag. I think I'm a bull sometimes. So
Okay. Yeah.
I vibe with it. Okay, so I read you worked with Alice Cooper. How was it working with Alice Cooper?
With the drummer, with musicians from Alice Cooper. Actually,
Oh,
my
cool.
last record featured the drummer that has been with Alice for the last, I think, like the last decade. So that was,
Wow.
very cool. Recording that album, especially sounded great, with that drummer. Um, yeah, many of the like the musicians that I normally worked with were for my latest record, and then for a collaboration that I did for a song, a tribute to the Doors too, that came out last year, and working on the next one right now.
So Dreams and Lies is the new record, and that's who the drummer of Alice Cooper has kind of worked on
Yeah.
and whatnot.
hmm
How did you guys come in contact to work together?
So after moving out here in LA, I was like, I mean, came out of nowhere with no friends, or I mean, just overseas, even like another continent, I would say.
That's
I
such an
ended up
LA story though.
yeah, yeah. I ended up going to a lot of the live music type of venues, where musicians were just playing, and there was a place in the in Studio City called the Baked Potato, which is super cool. It's been there for like 50
I've
years.
never been.
You never been?
I lived in LA for a long time, but I didn't
Okay,
really go to Studio City, so I'm not
okay.
familiar with Studio City.
So this is more like
Okay.
a musician's hang. Is like, especially on Mondays they used to do, like, because everybody has gigs during the weekend, and then Monday everybody's off, so they have like live jam sessions, or like a live band. So that's kind of like
Wow.
the way that I was cutting my teeth in the city, like just going there and see those musicians and meeting musicians and people. So then you go there, you meet them, and then start talking for years, and then I started working on my own thing after being in bands. And then I reached out. It was like, hey man, like I wrote these songs. I would love you to play on them. And like, even though you're like a newbie at the time, like it's your first album, it was super cool. Like the music spoke to them, and they were like, dude, yeah, I want to do it. And then but it's been guys that you've been jamming with for a while, or like that you met in those musician type of venues. Same thing that you would kind of like do at the Rainbow or the Whiskey or something, like
Yeah,
people that you meet over there. But this is more like a very musicians with live music type of hang, I would say.
I hung out at the Rainbow and
hmm
Viper and when the Key Club was open and the Whiskey all the time, but I never heard of the Baked Potato, and it's a bunch of musicians playing. That's up my alley. I would have tried to gone and hook up with all the musicians back in the day in my 20s. So I'm bummed I
oh my
didn't
god, yeah.
know about this.
That one I've seen there, like small venue. I mean, like maybe
Yeah.
like 100 cap or something like that. They do like two shows. I've seen Steve Lukather from Toto playing there. Like Danny Carey from Tool. I've seen amazing, amazing, like Grammy winning musicians just jamming with their friends over there, and that was like super cool. So that's
That
that's
is
been like
something
my
I
school.
miss,
Yep, yep.
because now I'm in back home in Northern California, but I
Okay.
remember going to the Roxy one night, and it was like a Monday night, and Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters jumped up acoustically and started playing guitar, and I'm just like, because they all live there, you never
Yeah,
know what you're gonna see, and it was really neat.
yeah, that's a cool thing. Like, I mean, still one of the pros of being here in LA.
Yeah.
When did you leave? Recently or
No, I left LA in 2014.
okay?
So it's been a long time. I
Okay.
don't even know
Mhm.
if the baked potato was a thing, but I was
Mhm.
heavy in there 2008 to 2014 was my
Okay.
rock and roll Hollywood time that I
Okay.
had to get out because it was too much fun. It was way
Yeah,
too much
it's too
fun.
much fun. Now a lot of people are like the last I would say like the last 5 years, every gig that I go to or any time that I go to somewhere, I meet somebody or I see a friend who's moving to Nashville. A lot of people left town.
Yes, so it was Austin. I moved to Austin for a year after LA at first because Austin, Texas was like the big I went to South by Southwest and didn't come home. Now it's Nashville and
Hmm.
Vegas. I feel like
Yep.
a lot of my friends that lived in LA, that it was so expensive and regulations got kind of nuts with COVID. So a ton of my friends in the music industry moved to Vegas and it's a lot more affordable and they're getting gigs like weekly and getting
Hmm.
paid more in Vegas. So yeah, I would love Nashville. I've never been to Nashville though. Have you been?
Yeah, it's a once, and it's super cool. And Vegas, we played in Vegas 2 months ago too,
I
and
saw that.
the scene is like insane right now. Like there's so many my friends who are like, man, we have so many gigs. There's so many things to do over here. So
Yeah.
it's almost parallel to LA right now. There are people
I
have
think
yeah.
Vegas is almost taken over for
Hmm.
the rock scene, or it's up and coming to do that because a lot of my friends, they're at least they're hired guns. They kind of bounce around to a lot of different bands. They're
Uh huh.
making good money in Vegas and
Hmm.
networking and stuff. So I don't know. Okay, I wanted to know, how did like the MTV Germany find you, post everything, or how did that come about?
So I signed a for the latest record. I signed a distribution deal with 88, which is Warner's indie imprint. I would say it's almost like like you still indie or like independent. There's not like a big machine of marketing behind you, but you use
Yeah.
their logistics or it's like all the big labels they have their own independent distribution type of thing. So we released the record, and then every now and then, even though it's not a with a big label, some opportunities may come up, and then they reached out. They were like, "Hey, we want to do these tributes for Halloween for like iconic songs in the Warner catalog, and we would like you to do one." So there were three options. There was Warren Zevon, the Werewolves of London, Talking Heads, Psycho Killer, and then The Doors, People Are Strange. I was like, well, all those three are awesome for
Nice. Yeah, great songs.
spooky Halloween. So I did the one for The Doors that was like a super trip because it was one of my favorite bands, but also like I have to do like in like 50 to 60 days. And then we released it. It just went through their thing, and then like 2 months later or something like that, I got an email saying, "Hey, Warner sent it out, and then MTV Germany picked it up, and it was featuring the video, over
That's
there."
so cool. That's so
And that
random.
was it was so random that sometimes it was like it's one of those things that it spoke to somebody, or it was like the right time or the right place, or but the video has been great, and it went to win a few awards, and people are really digging it. So it's just one of those times when you win. And this then
Yeah.
it's just one of those 1% where 99% of the time is that you send it out, and then so that was super cool. Yeah.
I know social media and the internet in general has just helped so much overseas networking and
Hmm.
cool surprises like that. Like a band can blow up. Or my number one listeners are in Canada on this new podcast,
Okay.
and it cracks me up. I've never even been to Canada, but apparently there's just a lot of Canadian listeners, and I
Okay.
love that. That's cool. But how random the internet works and how that
Yeah, so
happens.
how sometimes it can work. Yeah, but that was super nice, and then it opened doors for many other things too. But it's just one of those things that you like you said, like 90. You send it out, you put it out there, you play shows. It's almost the same. Is that when you're on tour and you just play a little town that you thought there was not going to be, and then over there, like the people are really appreciative or something, and then you grow a little fan base over there that you were not expecting because you were
If
aiming
people
for like
don't live in LA, they don't understand it's actually hard to get people to show up to a show in LA. I think they're spoiled, right? Like we had so many musicians and so many shows that to get people to show up in LA is a hard feat. But when you go to some small town, sometimes in the middle of nowhere or in the South or the Midwest, there'll be hundreds of people coming out to see you and support you.
and
So
appreciate it. Yeah, it's really
yeah,
appreciative. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it's super
So
cool.
how was NAM? I haven't been to NAM for like 8 years. When's the last time you've been to NAM and performed?
I went the last one this year, which is the first time that it came back around to the natural cycle. Because because of the pandemic, it got moved once to July and then or June, and then it came back later in April. And this was like the natural one. I was very excited to be there this year because pretty much everybody was saying that it was kind of like attention was kind of decreasing for the show because people. But this one was super cool. Like this one was nice. It was busy. It was nice to be. I mean, it's alive and well to me. Because
Yeah.
the last 3 or 4 years, I was like, is this going to be the last one? It
Everyone's
was.
stories on Instagram were at NAMM, and I felt jealous. I felt FOMO. I
Mhm.
was missing out, and I'm like, I need to go next year because it's been so long. So that's good to know that NAMM is kind of still got the juice and it's up and going. But did you perform?
We did a few things for booths, not like the shows out there or something like for some of the brands that I normally, play with, and like small things like 5 minutes here, a couple songs here and there, like to showcase the products and all that. And that was cool. Um, Excited about next year because now it's going to be like building up to what it was, its natural cycle, which is January. And see, I always like it. I mean, it's very stressful sometimes. I try to maybe just do one day now because it's, like driving all the way down there from here, or like you get a hotel, and
Yeah,
then after like 2 or 3 days it's just intense because there's a lot of walking and talking to people. But
I know.
I was a kid. I mean, that's the thing. What you were saying, you spoke. I was a kid in Spain reading magazines and dreaming about one day going there. Then you move out here, and you go every single year. So I have no excuse to say, "Oh, I don't want to go there." Because I mean, you go there. I have friends that come from Argentina or Germany, and they're like, "Hey, we flew
Wow.
12 hours for this, and you're 30 minutes away." You have no excuse. It's like
Yeah.
just get yourself out there, and then be at least show up for the brands, or be with your friends, and like it's just it's exciting to be.
Yeah. I know what you mean though, and I feel like with my age, going to multiple day music festivals or multiple day, production events, it is harder. Like I'll give it all the first day and I'll be interviewing a lot of bands. And then on day two, I'm just sluggish. I'm tired. I'm hungover from just talking, just social
Yeah. Hmm.
interaction. Like I'm like, okay, I need to hide in my cave for a couple of
Hmm.
days, but it's harder to do multiple day things. And speaking of brands, I know you use PRS guitars.
Hmm.
What is the difference or why do you like them? Is the sound different? What's the reason that you use them?
It was like it's one of those things, like it's almost like your style or your fashion. Sometimes people say you don't pick your clothes, or you don't pick your style. As your style picks you based on
Yeah.
your height, or your. That was the thing, is like we were. I mean, I'm very eclectic when it comes, and I have all types of guitars, and I play the bass too, and synth. Just there are a few ones that I liked, and then you start writing, and then you start working in the studio, and it's kind of like the sound that was working for you. It was kind of like, oh, this is the sound for the record. This is the sound that you have for that. So I've been with them for the last 5 years, and it's been great, and it's very reliable too. Especially, when you go on tour, you throw things in the back. You want something reliable, doesn't come out of tune, something that it's kind of cool, and they look very pretty. So it's been great for me. I play other brands too, based on the song too. Like, I mean, there you may be in a song that needs a Fender or needs this type of sound, and then we do it for the studio because it's the right sound. But so far so good, reliable. They're cool, and it kind of works for me. I always compare to clothes. It's kind of like, well, why does this shirt work and the other one doesn't? It's like, which is the one that works for you, I would say.
So the guitar is cool, reliable, maybe durable. It's kind of like your dream wifey. Like you want a wife like that guitar that's going to show you can throw her around and she won't get hurt and she'll always work.
Hmm.
I think I need to do a commercial for the guitar
A
company.
commercial for those. Yep. Mhm.
Well, thank you so much, John, for stopping by the new podcast. And I will tag you and put all of the links. Everyone definitely go check out his music and his new album.
Thanks so much, Steph, for having me. It's a huge honor, and then thanks for doing this. And then we'll talk soon, and we'll see you when you're here, or if we play shows up there. All right.
Yeah, definitely. If you come to Sacramento, let me know. And if I do go to NAM next year, I'm going to let you and everybody know. And I want to like do live interviews from NAM again because it's been a long time. And
Okay.
I'll have a Red Bull to stay awake for all of it.
All
All right.
right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.